Hello, this is my 9th video in my writing process series, and today I'm going to focus on my secondary characters. In my last video I focused on my protagonist. You should maybe check that one out if you want to know how I got to this point. So there are some things I'm going to talk about in this video that I touch on in the other video more and I explain them more. But in this video, I'm just going to mention them. So if you want to check that out, it might make this video make more sense. But anyway, my two secondary characters, they form a triad with the protagonist. And I'm not going to call it a lover's triangle because I don't think that's really what the story is about. But both of the characters are going to have a large impact on the protagonist in different ways. I really like the idea of the double. What I'm trying to do with this is these two female characters are going to be kind of doppelgangers of each other. And I don't mean that they're going to look the same, because they're not. But I'm going to kind of draw on the ideas of like David Lynch's Mulholland Drive or Ingmar Bergman's Persona, Brian De Palma's Sisters and Body Double. Just this idea that these two people, their fates are interconnected and that they are kind of mirror images of each other. So the main thing to remember in this case is that they are kind of dual identities, but they are kind of making one, there's like one unit out of it, a dark and a light. And one of the kind of mysteries I'm going to have in my story is that you're not exactly sure which one is dark and which one is light. So if you've watched these videos, you know that my book is going to have a lot of elements of Gnosticism in it, and also the rites of Eleusis. So in Gnosticism, there's this idea of Sophia, which means wisdom, but is the feminine spirit that emanates from the higher God, who eventually gives birth to the lower God, the demiurge. And Sophia is kind of this unattainable wisdom that drives people to do things, to have like a spiritual experience. Now, Sophia can have a higher and a lower side, creative and destructive side. So in my story, these two kind of mythical parts of this single person are going to play the tropes of the femme fatale and the ingenue. But there's going to be ambiguity there, so you're not exactly sure which one is which. By the end of the novel, you will know, but throughout the novel, there's going to be this question. You know, which one is the destructive one? Which one is the creative one? That's going to be the trick, because I want that to be very, very subtle. And in order to do that, I really have to plan this a lot, because I have to think about these clues that could be there. If you go back and read it again, you might be like, ah, yeah, that's a clue, you know, because I do kind of see this story as a mystery. It's not like a crime mystery, but it is a mystery. I have to really see these two figures as kind of one thing. So what I did is I created a spreadsheet. I blacked it out intentionally because I don't want to spoil it completely. But as you can tell, I have two characters here at the top, Lux and Selena. Their names may change, but as of right now, that is what I came up with. Now, I blacked it all out because I didn't want to give a bunch of spoilers, but I meticulously went through and kind of filled this out before I started making my Novel Factory character sheets. Now, a lot of this has to do with Gnostic symbolism, so I wanted to figure out where they fit into this. So I'm adding these kind of things on the side here, just to kind of show you, like the role in the story. Chiron is the name of the sort of compound where the rites of Eleusis take place. So what motivations they have there, their actual actions, what they're going to do, what emanation of the Gnostic Sophia are they, like what kind? And then on and on. I go through and answer these questions for myself. What their aura's like, what kind of charisma they actually have, their flaws. I give them a tarot card, just like I did for the protagonist, and then their enneagram, and then their wing. This is very important. As I said in my last video on the protagonist, this really helps me find what kind of person they are. And I have to admit, it actually really excites me, because once I get this, then it's like the story just starts to really take hold, because I know it's almost like you're breathing life into the characters. It's like the first breath of life, because once you know what the basis of their personality is, all the other things just kind of fall into place. So what they represent, their light and shadow. Some of this I actually got from the tarot cards. I have a really good book on the tarot that I can draw symbolism from. And their mannerisms, some random thoughts that I had, and a point of view. People in real life that I'm basing them on. Once I know their personality type, it's easy to kind of fit them into people I know or I have known in the past. And that helps you kind of know how they'll react in certain situations. And then some imagery for different scenes. So I went through all of this. Took a long time. Took a very long time. But now, the reason I did this together is because if I have an idea for one of them, I can use kind of the opposite idea for the other. So they're kind of like mirror images of each other. And I think the best way to do that is just in a spreadsheet. I jump back into the Novel Factory again, and I just want to talk a little bit about how I found these pictures and why I'm choosing these. So I'm going to open this up, hopefully not spoil much. But when it comes to my femme fatale character, it was really difficult to find a woman on the internet that fit the Enneagram type that I already came up with. So I spent hours sifting through different noir actresses and modern actresses and models and whatever else to get the right feeling. And it was an indescribable thing that I was looking for. And so it took me a long time, but when I saw it, I knew it. I was like, that's it. And strangely, I wasn't actually looking for this person. This is Elizabeth Scott. She was a famous, sort of a second-tier noir actress, film noir actress. But I was actually looking up someone else, and her picture just happened to come up. So it was kind of an act of serendipity. But then as soon as I saw it, this first picture was the one that I saw. I just knew. I was like, that's it. And that's part of what it takes, I think, to be a creator, is knowing, trusting yourself, and knowing and using your intuition for when something comes across your desk or something pops into your attention, that you know enough about what you're doing and what you want that you immediately are like, yes, that's it. And that was the case with her. Now, in the case of the other character, who's the ingenue, that was a little bit different, because I knew that I wanted the person to have large eyes. I just kind of figured that was, after having written some of the character, I knew that that was a defining trait. So I started thinking about people that have large eyes, and Mia Farrow popped into my head, the actress who was probably most famous in the 70s. But I remember her from The Great Gatsby, and I actually looked that up and I found her, and she's perfect. Now, the pictures I have here, I'm not taking them because of her costumes and stuff. That's irrelevant to my story. It's more the expression on her face. That's what I'm using. And now when I get deep into the writing process, it may change, but this is just inspiration to get me there. And I think you can tell a lot about the inner workings of a person by their eyes and just their mannerisms. And she has very striking eyes as well as very distinct mannerisms. And I think if I use her as a basis, then I can kind of go off and create my own thing. But not having that foundation, I think it causes a problem, because you can only kind of imagine so much. And there are some details in people that you can't really imagine. You only kind of are presented with them as they appear. And I think in the case of trying to write compelling characters, those indescribable elements are the most important. So as you can see, I like to think in layers when I'm creating not just my plot, but also my characters. Even if people don't know the symbols that you're using, subconsciously they know. And I think it also helps create depth to your work, because someone can go in later and be like, oh, like they were drawing from this, or it just makes it more multi-dimensional. So I really like to do that. You know, I'm going to have lots of different motifs with these characters, like the moonlight, or shadows, or a scarab is one symbol, like just these different symbols that I'm going to use. And I will probably do backstory outlines for them at some point. Right now I'm a little bogged down with everything else, but when I go into the outlining phase, I'll probably take a day and outline their backstories, because I think with my tertiary characters, which is the video I'm going to do next, I don't necessarily need to know as much about their backgrounds. I could probably do that in like a paragraph. But I think with these two, I definitely need to have a little bit more to go on. So I will probably do that. But yeah, that's what I have so far for these. My next video, like I said, is going to be on my tertiary characters, and my antagonist is part of this group, along with three other major characters. Now, there are going to be probably 10 other characters that make appearances. I don't have to be as detailed with them, because many of them just serve parts of the plot, or they're there for certain reasons. But that's about all I have for this. If you like anything you've seen here, you can hit the bell, subscribe, like the video. You can share it if you'd like. That's what I have for today. Take care. Have a good day.